Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Run the Nation right here, TYT Nation. Oops, I just gave away my first story. All right. Fun, huh? But anyway, yeah, you know what story we're going to cover, what we're going to talk about first. And actually, I was a little bit conflicted about covering this story because I guess maybe I'll get into my thoughts about that later on. But anyway, we got a great show for you guys today. You saw the first story. We also have Dinesh D'Souza, or Dinesh D'Louza. We'll talk about that guy, who actually comes out to be a winner today, which is sad. We have Donald Trump going after Jeff Sessions. Of course, as usual, we'll talk about the reason for that, and I think we already know, but we'll talk about that. We have John Bolton at the National Security Council putting in his friends. What do his friends believe in? Well, you're not going to be surprised. You're not going to be shocked that they are, of course, anti-Muslim and can't wait for another war in the Middle East. We got that story. Potential disaster, of course. Then we have tariffs. The Trump administration is going after our allies in Europe, as well as going after China with tariffs. And, of course, the backlash is going to be spectacular, and I mean spectacular as in fucking disastrous. This is going to be a disaster. Oh, boy. But we'll end the show, hopefully, with some good news. So, all right. That's what we have in the show. If you haven't already, please give us a like, share, all that stuff. Helps us out greatly. Super chat. That's a way to contact the show, as well as help the show, because it allows you to donate. So, please use that. And if you really want to help with the show as well, please go to patreon.com/TYTNation. Not only that, but if you're not getting notifications, so you've got to click the bell on the right-hand corner, and then you got to go through a bunch of options, and then, check mark a box that says something like, show all videos from this creator. Because YouTube is making it harder and harder to get videos from the people you subscribe to. It used to be all you had to do was hit the subscribe button, you get email notifications, right? Well, no, that doesn't happen. Not anymore. Now you have to go through a bunch of extra steps in order to see all videos from the people that you subscribe to. Me, for example. And of course, that's hurting everybody. That's hurting Humanist Report, Secular Talk, Kyle Kalinske, our channel. Pretty much all YouTubers on news and politics, we're getting hammered. And not in a good way. So, yeah, if you could do that, subscribe to the channel, go through all those extra steps to be able to see our videos, great. Like and share, all that stuff. So, anyway, that is funny because I'm getting asked a question here. Am I excited for Pokemon? Let's go. And no, you know what? I've never played Pokemon. I don't actually have a Nintendo Switch, so that probably makes me a terrible nerd. But yeah, I never got into Pokemon, but I think my little nephew would love it. So he loves Pokemon, so he's gonna be really excited about that. The only Nintendo that I've owned within the past 10 years is a Nintendo Wii. And the last Nintendo I had before that was a Nintendo 64, and I loved GoldenEye 007. Look, some of the younger guys on the stream are like, GoldenEye? What the fuck is GoldenEye? Best multiplayer shooter ever. Forget Call of Duty. All right? Forget that bullshit. You've never played a good shooter unless you played multiplayer, split screen, 4 people, GoldenEye. Fuck yeah. That's my jam. I once shot a guy through one door and to another supposedly bulletproof glass window in the head. Yes. That was probably the most amazing shot. If I could have had it on video at that point, I would have put it up on YouTube and had like 1 billion views. It's one of the most luckiest shots I've ever had in the facility. You guys know what I'm talking about. Those of you who've played this. So, you know, that actually gets me to think about having like a stream on Saturdays. So like just do like a stream that's not news necessarily related, but like just bullshitting. Like coming on, talking about things, maybe getting somebody to talk with me, a couple of friends or something, and we'll run a live stream. We'll talk about whatever. It'd be video games, or maybe if you want to talk news topics, that inevitably comes up in pretty much every conversation that I have. We'll talk about that stuff, or whatever. So, this might be just like a stream, like a Chatterday stream. That's what it is. Thinking about it. Also thinking about doing a Twitch stream, where I will play video games. So that should be fun. I would enjoy doing that as well. So if you guys, if that's something that you would like to see, let me know. Because that is something I'm interested in. Also, you know, like I said, a Twitch stream. That would be fun. I like to play video games. I've been playing Battlefield 1 lately, and I get my ass handed to me pretty much every time. I mean, I'm embarrassingly bad at first-person shooters, but I still do it anyway. Because it's fun. I get crushed. That's okay. I shoot people in the face every once in a while, but usually get ran over by a tank or something ridiculous. But that is what it is. Hey, if you enjoy, if you'd like to see that. By the way, Edward, you should you should go back and look at some of my previous streams. I actually had a Diablo 3 stream that I streamed up like maybe 2 years ago that I played. And yes, I played Fortnite like once. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'll figure it out. And I will make whoever plays with me on the stream sad. But yeah, I have done a couple of streams here. Oh God, what was that one game that I played a while ago on a stream? I don't know. Most of the time, I don't stream when I play because I usually play MMORPGs, and who wants to sit around and watch me craft for 6 hours? But if I'm playing something like Battlefield or Fortnite or something competitive, there you go. You might enjoy that because that's a little bit more dynamic than watching somebody play like an MMO. So yeah, I might consider doing a couple of those things, like a show like Jeff Unplugged or something like that, which sounds ridiculously stupid, but something I can do on the weekend. So you know, can have a little bit of a stream, have a little bit of fun, and all that. Now, let me read a super chat here. Nick the Mix says, "Sat chat would be great. Love to talk and play along." Yeah. Well, here you go. Like I could invite a couple of my friends, former TYT community members, like from the show. I don't know if you guys, how long a lot of you guys have been here. I know some of you have been here for a very long time, back in the TYT community days, where I did that show. Well, I'd always bring out a bunch of people. Well, I might bring a couple of those people back. We'll sit and bullshit. That's if they're available, of course, and have a little bit of fun. So, I think I might do it. So, I'll let you guys know if we're going to do that stream or not. All right, anyway, just a little bit of fun. Just a couple of, throwing out a couple ideas and seeing how you guys think about it. Okay. But let's get into the show. We do have some news to talk about today, if you can qualify the next story as news. But before you do, please like and share if you haven't already. So, we'll get to it. So comedian Samantha Bee is in a little bit of trouble. This, of course, follows the outrage over Roseanne calling a former Obama official a racial slur. And since then, conservatives have been targeting liberal comedians in order to try to strike back. Now, this latest example, as I said, involves Samantha Bee. She said something a little bit crass. I'll get to what she said later on, but well, let me go through a little bit of a timeline first. So Roseanne, of course, tweets out that Valerie Jarrett is like the Muslim Brotherhood and the Planet of the Apes having a baby. Now that, of course, Valerie Jarrett is African-American, and that slur, calling somebody an ape, is something that has been traditionally viewed as quite racist. And actually goes all the way back to slavery, where white slave owners would constantly dehumanize and compare African-American slaves to apes. So it's fairly clear why this is considered a nasty racial slur. Okay, so that's what Roseanne did. Roseanne apologized. Then she said, oh, I was on Ambien, and I was, racist tweeting on Ambien, because that's a side effect, apparently, of taking that drug. No, it actually isn't. Racism is racism. So ABC's like, okay, well, look, we're going to can Roseanne. That's it. We're done. So Republicans, conservatives, of course, freaked out. Except, strangely enough, Tomi Lahren. Now, Tammy, she's like, you know what? It was actually really bad. Wow. That's strange. Tammy, wow. So she actually said something. Every once in a while, she portrays her liberalness, right? And puts out a little bit of hint that she is actually not an actual conservative, but is basically lying her ass off, and says something sensible. So that's Tommy. Anyway, so after that whole thing happened, that debacle, conservatives, their hair is on fire, and so they decided to target Bill Maher. Oh, Bill Maher, how dare you compare Donald Trump to an orangutan? We should get rid of Bill Maher. Oh, that'll really trigger the libs now. Oh, you want to go after Bill Maher? Have at it, Hoss. I don't give a shit. Bill Maher a liberal? Really? I thought Bill Maher was more of a libertarian that really hates Muslims. Have at it. Go after him. What do we care? And now, of course, they've decided to come for Samantha Bee. Why? Again, she came after Ivanka Trump. Now, she does a Politico show where she goes after people in the administration, and yes, sometimes she says crass things about them. Now, however, this latest thing is so completely unforgivable. Well, what did she say? She called the first daughter of Ivanka Trump the C word. The C word! Oh my God. No. Now, let me give you some context. So she was talking about Ivanka Trump's inaction. And now Ivanka Trump is supposed to be the liberal in the White House, the one that's supposed to temper Donald Trump away from his worst impulses. Well, based on the news where ICE agents are literally ripping families apart, ripping babies away from their mothers, that's not exactly tempered. That's not a tempered immigration response. That's full-on fascist. Oh, we're going to rip those families apart? Oh, okay, that's what we're going to do. Well, that's what fascists do, right? So, look, Ivanka is supposed to be that moderating influence. So Samantha Bee says, why aren't you a moderating influence? In fact, she said, tearing children away from their parents is so evil. It's the inciting incident in almost every movie we've ever cared about. Ivanka Trump who works at the White House, chose to post the second most oblivious tweet we've seen this week. And what did she tweet? Well, she tweeted out a picture with her and her kid. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, Samantha Bee obviously had a problem with the timing, right? Especially since ICE agents are ripping families apart, ripping people's kids away from them. So she says, you know, Ivanka, that's a beautiful photo of you and your child. But let me say, one mother to another, do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless C word. Right? She added, he listens to you. Put something on tight and low cut and tell your father to effing stop it. Tell him it was an Obama thing and see how it goes. Now, when you put it in context, she's basically trying to accentuate the point of, hey, your father is doing something incredibly evil and terrible in ripping these families apart with their immigration policies. Why don't you do something? You are feckless. You are not having any effect on your father. I thought you were supposed to moderate. When you put it in context, that actually makes sense, right? And yes, that was used to accentuate her point. Now, is it crass? Of course. Yes, it is crass. And that's really not something that is unheard of on her show. But of course, the White House immediately lit itself on fire over this. And they sent out Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Now, she called this, quote, vile and vicious. Oh, my God, vile and vicious. So vile, so vicious. Okay. Now, she said the collective silence by the left and its media allies is appalling. Her disgusting comments and show are not fit for broadcast. And executives at Time Warner and TBS must demonstrate that such explicit profanity about female members of this administration will not be condoned on its network. Now, look, as I said before, are the comments disgusting? Look, I wouldn't say that in my home. In fact, we kind of have a ban on it on our home. We don't say that word because it is pretty vile. It is a disgusting word. Yes, but that's a personal preference. Now, look, if TBS says, okay, well, we want to drop that show because you use that word, well, that's TBS's decision, right? But the White House has made it more complicated. See, because they had to weigh in. And when they weigh in, calling for a show to be taken off the air, which I believe that's what Sarah Sanders was calling for, then it might actually become a First Amendment issue. Because now you have the government weighing in and saying they should get that off the air. So now it's a little bit more complicated. But anyway, now, again, they want to make this a comparison between what Roseanne had said and what Samantha Bee had said. And saying, oh, they're the same thing. They're both vile and crass. They're both terrible, right? Well, okay, well, here's the thing. They're not the same. As I explained before, the context of calling someone an ape and repeatedly calling African American women or people of color monkeys or comparing them to monkeys has a very long racist history. That is why we don't do that. The C word, again, not great, right? Not a great thing to call somebody. But that's why people call other people that word, because it's not great. Now, the thing about this is they want to call out the left for hypocrisy, right? Well, here's the thing. Sanders' response to this is actually much, much stronger than what happened with the Roseanne tweets, right? Now, asked about the former ABC star's remarks at Wednesday's White House briefing, Sanders said neither Trump nor the White House were defending them. Of course, because it's indefensible. Even Roseanne said, that is indefensible, don't defend me, right? Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders just said, they were inappropriate. By the way, as inappropriate as this is, why isn't the media apologizing to Donald Trump? Wait. How did you turn this from Roseanne calling somebody a racial slur, as well as all the terrible things that she's tweeted out, conspiracy theories, like Pizzagate, QN, and all that stuff, How did you turn that around to try to demand an apology from the media to you, to Donald Trump? Now, she said the president is pointing to the hypocrisy in the media, saying the most horrible things about this president, and nobody addresses it. Fascinating. Now, here's the thing. Well, if the media has to apologize to Donald Trump for saying things that are mostly true about him lying, and again, there are instances where it's not true, and instances, for example, the New York Times printing a story and then pulling a retraction. Okay, well, the retraction is kind of the apology in a way. Okay, so if the media has to do that, then why doesn't Fox News have to go back and apologize for everything they said about President Obama being a secret Muslim? Why doesn't Donald Trump have to apologize for lying about President Obama's birth certificate? Why doesn't he have to go back and do that? That seems to be a little bit of a doubled standard, right? A little weird. Just a little weird. I mean, again, where do we draw the line? Fox News says terrible things about Obama and Hillary Clinton. A lot of them untrue. Some of them are true. And the media, of course, says terrible things about Trump. However, most of those actually do happen to be true. And the ones that are not true are immediately retracted. Does Fox News retract stories? It's pretty rare. In fact, I think the only story that I remember them pulling is the one about Seth Rich. And that, of course, is on request of Seth Rich's family, who kept telling Hannity, stop rubbing it in our faces. He's dead. Stop with the conspiracy. So, look, as I said, could TBS pull B's show? Yes, that's their decision, right? You know what? Pulling Roseanne was ABC's decision. So, I mean, look, when it comes to these are private corporations. They can do whatever they want, right? So, look, if you're a conservative and you're mad at ABC, you need to remember that, well, you're in favor of a free market, right? So the free market decided, well, that what Roseanne said was completely unacceptable. And so, hey, liberals, if they pull Samantha Bee's show, well, then that's because the free market decided that it was unacceptable. I thought you guys believed in the free market. I thought you loved the free market. I mean, you don't like it? Go to Venezuela, snowflake. But look, here's the thing. I don't really care too much, right? Both sides say terrible things about each other, right? Now, in the case of Donald Trump, most of it is true, unfortunately. But look, if I go and call Donald Trump a fucking idiot ship-gibbon orange orangutan ass face, well, that's not true. That's an opinion. That is my opinion. It's not necessarily true. And you could go and say, hey, Jeff, that is fucking rude. You goddamn right it's rude. Oh, you want to pull my advertisers? I don't have any. I don't have any advertisers. I'm fully funded by you guys. Have at it, Hoss. Whatever. Don't really care. But that's just that's just me. But look, as I said before, this is not the same thing. And I've explained why this isn't the same thing. Now, calling somebody the C word doesn't exactly have the same context, especially when it's a woman doing it, right? So, in this case, it was a woman calling another woman that word. So, I mean, is it sexist? I guess you could probably make an argument maybe that might be halfway decent. I don't know. I don't really want to get into it. It just seems like a stupid argument anyway. But let me tell you what the real reason for this outrage is. It's for Roseanne. It's for ABC canceling Roseanne. It's partisan revenge against the libs. And guess what? In a way, it actually has worked. Earlier today, B actually apologized. She said, I would like to sincerely apologize to Ivanka Trump and to my viewers for using an expletive on my show to describe her last night. It was inappropriate and inexcusable. I crossed the line and I deeply regret it. No, never apologize. Look, the number one rule here, don't apologize to the right. You know why? It's because they're going to use it against you, no matter what. No apology is good enough for the right wing. Look, again, it was crass. Absolutely. But should she have to apologize for it? No. Stick to your guns if you actually believe it. So, again, I crossed a line and I deeply regret it. You know what crossing the line is? It's breaking up immigrant families, which was the entire fucking point. But see, here's the thing. I am so tired of liberals folding in the face of Republicans. Any kind of Republican criticism, any kind of outrage from the right, and a Democrat folds. Now, in the case of Roseanne, she actually knew that what she did was fucking wrong. She said something deeply racist. Now, B said something incredibly crass. Big difference, right? And look, I'm not going to... You know what? Fuck it, I am going to defend it. That is exactly what Ivanka Trump is. Come at me, bro. I don't care. I don't care. That is it. Look, you want to come after me for that? That's fine. Whatever. She is feckless. She is feckless. She is not a moderating influence. In fact, she shouldn't even be in government. If she doesn't want to get criticized, then maybe she shouldn't be in the public spotlight. How about that? How about that? Look, this whole thing is just, it's hilarious because you have people from the right that walk around saying, oh, I love to trigger the libs. You guys are a bunch of fucking snowflakes. Get over it, snowflake. Well, you know what? Get over it, snowflake. I mean, what are you going to say, right? These are the people that have said every horrific thing imaginable about Hillary Clinton, which I'm no fan of Hillary Clinton, right? Go back and watch some of my clips during the primary. You'll see how I feel about Hillary Clinton. And they said things, the most horrible things against Obama. They say the most horrible things against liberals. And then they want to call us snowflakes. But when somebody says, basically gives them a taste of their own medicine, well then, oh, how dare you? Oh my God, how can you ever say something terrible like that? Get over it, snowflake. Fuck your feelings. Because you know what? They say the exact kind of shit to us. So, how's it feel, snowflake? How's it feel? I'm not going to apologize for the right. Unless I say something that's factually incorrect. Then I'll apologize. But if I make fun of the right, that's my opinion, right? And you know what? I'm entitled to that opinion. And Samantha Bee is entitled to her opinion. Roseanne is entitled to her opinion as well. But we're not, and this is the thing that they gotta understand. The right, when you say something, expect consequences. Just like if I say something terrible about Trump, I expect consequences. I expect there to be hateful comments. That is absolutely fine. I expect there to be dislikes. I expect there to be some sort of consequence. And you know what? We should all expect that, because that is our speech. We are free to speak, and we are free to not have the government censor our speech, but we're also not free from the consequences. And that's the whole point that Republicans, conservatives, and even some liberals don't understand. And they need to. Okay. I got a little bit more worked up about that than I originally wanted to. But whatever. I know, for somebody who didn't really care so much about that, for some reason, I care. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break here. We'll come back. We got more show. Stick around. We'll be right back. Send your super chats if you have them, and we'll read them after the break. So stay right here. We'll be back around the nation. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the nation, right here, TWT Nation. It's always weird, but sometimes when I take a break, it's to close the office door because my cat loves to come in during the show. So, yeah, I do. I have a home office, so, and the cat just loves to open the door. It's a good cat. Maybe I'll put some pictures up on Instagram or something. But anyway, we're back. More show for you guys today. Let me check to see if I have any super chats to read. That is one good way to get in touch with the show. All right. None of those, so let's go to our next big story of the day. Dinesh D'Souza. Oh, boy. I spent like 20 minutes on Samantha Bee. Way more than I thought. All right. So President Trump has been in a pardon spree as of recently. This morning, it was announced that President Trump will be issuing another pardon today. Well, that's very interesting. So, is it for somebody who made a mistake and is paying for it with life in prison? I mean, look, yesterday Kim Kardashian came to talk about prison reform and doing some pardons for somebody like Alice Marie Johnson. And look, I give her credit for that because, look, the only people that Donald Trump pays attention to are celebrities, fellow celebrities like himself. So, Kim Kardashian, of course, apparently feels very strongly about giving a pardon to Alice Marie Johnson. Now, who's Alice Marie Johnson? Well, she's somebody who happens to have fallen on some hard times and made some bad decisions in her youth. She ended up being involved in a nonviolent drug offense. So that ended up leading to, since she is a person of color, to a life sentence. Now, she served over 20 years in prison. So she went to talk to President Trump about possibly commuting her sentence and giving her a pardon. Okay. Now, is that who he decided to give a pardon to? I mean, that's somebody that I would give a lot of credit to if he were to pardon. Because, again, sometimes people fall into bad situations. Sometimes they make mistakes. So, is it her? Of course not. It's Dinesh D'Souza. According to The Hill, President Trump announced early Thursday that he would be pardoning the conservative author this afternoon. On Twitter, he wrote, "We'll be giving a full pardon to Dinesh D'Souza. Today, he was treated very unfairly by our government." Very unfair. Sad, baby. Now, what did D'Souza do to get treated so unfairly? Well, back in 2014, he pleaded guilty to violating federal campaign laws, and was actually convicted of a felony. Now, he didn't get any prison time, but he did get 5 years of probation. Now, let me give you some details on that case, in case you forgot. According to the district attorney's office, in 2012, the Election Act limited campaign contributions to $5,000 from any individual to any one candidate. I don't think that, I believe now, thanks to McCutcheon, those limits might be gone, but I'm not entirely sure. Nonetheless, in March 2012, D'Souza contributed $10,000 to the Senate campaign of Wendy Long on behalf of both himself and his wife, agreeing in writing to attribute that contribution as $5,000 from his wife and $5,000 from him. However, in August, D'Souza also directed other individuals with whom he was associated with, namely his assistant and a woman that he was having a romantic relationship with that was not his wife. He managed to get these people to donate to this campaign as well. They were known as straw donors. Now, they made the contributions to Wendy Long's campaign for the United States Senate on behalf of themselves and their spouses that totaled about $20,000. Now, what's wrong with that, and what makes them straw donors, is that Dinesh D'Souza promised to pay them back for their contribution. Oh. So, Later that same day or the next day, D'Souza, as promised, reimbursed the straw donors of $10,000 each in cash for their contributions. So that's basically buying contributions in a way, and funneling money to this candidate from people who weren't actually going to donate. Fascinating. Now, when confronted by Miss Long, D'Souza misled the candidate before admitting later on that, yes, he had indeed taken money or promised to these other people that, hey, if you donate to this candidate, I'll pay you back. Now, during the plea proceeding, D'Souza admitted before the court that he caused the two close associates to contribute $10,000 each to the Long campaign, with the understanding that he would reimburse them for the contributions, and, of course, he did reimburse them. And D'Souza also admitted that he knew what he was doing was wrong and something that the law forbids. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels. So Michael Cohen, of course, claimed that, oh no, the money that we gave to Stormy Daniels, the $130,000, well, that was out of my account, right? That was given for from my heart, right? Because I wanted to shut her up to help Donald Trump. But in reality, it's very likely that Donald Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen, which would also be illegal. It is kind of strange that D'Souza had done something similar to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has now issued a pardon to D'Souza. Fascinating. And you're going to see more of this pattern, right? For example, Donald Trump pardoned Joe Arpaio. Now, Joe Arpaio, he was found guilty of ignoring a court order. To do what? He ignored a court order to stop profiling Latinos. He got a pardon from Donald Trump. Why? Because Donald Trump hates Latinos. There's another one, Christian Saucier. Hopefully I said his name right. Christian Saucier. Now, Christian Saucier was a submariner. Now, he got in trouble for taking pictures of the inside of a submarine. Now, here's the thing. Saucier, after he pleaded guilty, argued in court that photos of a classified submarine propulsion system found on his phone were not unlike Hillary's emails. Now, here's the thing, right? Now, when this story came out, I actually kind of agreed with him. And I actually still do. I think that giving him prison time for taking photos of the inside and having him on their phone of a submarine, or the inside of a submarine, yes, is it a security risk? I guess. But prison time for it? No, just take away his device. Delete the photos and give him like a fine or something. You can't do that. And there should be some punishment. But I don't think prison time is necessarily appropriate. But that's just my opinion on it. Nonetheless, why did Trump pardon him? It's because he went after Hillary Clinton for the emails. Now, the next one is Scooter Libby. Now, Scooter Libby just happened to have been convicted of lying to a special counsel. Oh, so here we go again. Oh, you lied to a special counsel during an FBI investigation? Here's a pardon for you. Enjoy. Wait a minute. Has Donald Trump or any of his people, subordinates or people involved in his campaign, have they lied to a special counsel? Have they lied to the FBI? Only, I think, about 4 of them, or 3 or 4 of them, that have been convicted for lying to investigators in the Russia campaign. Or in the, not campaign, but in the Russia investigation. Again, if you're not seeing the pattern here. Now, one more thing to add to Scooter Libby. That pardon just happened to come a couple of days after James Comey's book was released. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, James Comey was the FBI director that authorized the special counsel in the case of Scooter Libby. But I'm sure this is all a coincidence, right? No, it's not a coincidence. It is unmistakable. Look, as I said, Donald Trump hates Latinos. His entire immigration thing started with, I'm going to build a wall between us and Mexico to keep the Mexicans from sending rapists and criminals across the border. I think it's pretty clear. So he pardons Arpaio, who happened to mistreat Latinos. He hates Hillary Clinton, so he pardons Saucier. He hates Comey and Mueller. So, of course, Scooter Libby, that makes sense, right? And finally, here's another piece of why he might have pardoned Dinesh D'Souza. Now, Dinesh D'Souza comes up with all these weird conspiracy theories. I think he made Hillary the movie, which is some sort of dystopian vision of life under Hillary, which it actually would have been just status quo, which sucks, but it wouldn't have been like what he said. And has also made these films about President Obama, and again, floats all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories, right? So Donald Trump naturally loves that stuff, but not only that, but Preet Bharara. Now, Preet Bharara, in the case against Dinesh D'Souza, was a New York prosecutor. Now, Preet Bharara also was fired by Donald Trump from the position. So, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Look, it's very, very clear, okay, to me, and it should be clear to you guys, that Donald Trump does not care about justice. He doesn't care about people like Alice Marie Johnson, right? No, all he cares about is rewarding his political friends with pardons. Look, this is all, I think, a big part of all these pardons is to show his friends, to show people that might have dirt on him, people like Michael Cohen and Michael Flynn, that don't worry, I could pardon you. I got your back. Look at me. I reward my friends. So I'll reward you. So this is about, again, rewarding his friends or people that could potentially have incriminating information on him and saying, don't worry, we can do this. We can protect you. I can protect you. I can pardon you. So that you can, if you go to jail, I'll pardon you. So you don't have to flip on me later on. That's what this is about. And also, it's also about undoing Obama, the decisions that judges had made under President Obama. You know who he's also going to pardon? Rod Blagojevich. Again, somebody who was found guilty of corruption, and Martha Stewart for lying to investigators. It is so very, very clear what is going on here. All the people that are related to his case, it's almost as if somebody gave him a list of the possible charges that he could face in the Russia investigation, and he is going down the list and finding people who have been put in jail for this, that have been found guilty of this, and pardoning people down the list. That's what this is about. Doesn't care about the law, doesn't care about the rule of law, doesn't care about corruption. All he cares about is protecting potential allies. He's a fascist. That is what fascists do, and that is why he is a danger to this country and its institutions. I think it's fairly clear. Okay. Not sure what I should do for the next story here. All right, let's skip that one. That's like a day old anyway. Let's go to the new trade war. Okay. Oh, that's so good. Okay. So President Trump is deciding to kick off a new trade war with the EU and with China. Lovely. Now, CNBC is reporting that President Trump is actually first going after German cars. Now, more specifically, German luxury cars like BMW. Now, several U.S. and European diplomats told the news outlet that Donald Trump told French President Emmanuel Macron, who, by the way, is not very popular in France. That's what happens when you have a neoliberal, about his plans last month during a state visit. Trump reportedly told Macron that he would maintain a ban on these cars, on these German-made luxury cars, until no Mercedes-Benz are seen on Fifth Avenue of New York. That, of course, is the same street that he said he could shoot someone on and not get in trouble with his base. That's very interesting. Look, now the report, of course, comes a week after Trump ordered Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross to investigate auto tariffs and probes whether car imports are a danger to national security. National security. What does this have to do with national security? Nothing. I'm sorry, how are German luxury cars, which are driven by very rich people, by the way, rich people like Donald Trump, how are they a danger to national security, by the way? I think they happen to be very well-made cars. But, look, again, Donald Trump has his own reasons for doing this, right? Now, what's funny is that he also used that same argument when he put tariffs on aluminum and steel. And, of course, that is fueling a big increase in the price of aluminum and steel. See, here's the thing, right? Now, if there is a 25% tariff on cars, which he is looking at doing, by the way, that's actually going to make the cars much more expensive. And that's going to have a big impact on, of course, jobs. Now, as the Hill notes that a number of German automakers have plants in the United States, including Mercedes-Benz in Alabama and BMW in South Carolina. So, now, what's going to happen to those jobs? Gone. Gone. Very likely. I mean, look, they could eliminate those jobs. They could pull out of Alabama. They could pull out of South Carolina, these companies, and say, oh, I don't want to pay your stinking tariff. Fine, we're just going to leave. Well, there you go. Jobs are gone because Donald Trump doesn't care about a free market. I mean, what happened to the free market, right? Well, this isn't the free market. This is him putting tariffs in order to try to, I don't know, punish Germany for not agreeing with him on stuff, for punishing Merkel, for saying something bad against Donald Trump, saying that he's a terrible leader. Look, this is alienating our allies and also putting a tax on Americans. The same thing has happened with soybeans in China, right? So, look, a lot of our soybeans, about 2/3 of them, get sold to China. Well, now with the tariffs, China says, you know what, we're not going to buy your stinking soybeans. What we're going to do, we're going to buy them from Russia. That's what happens when you have a trade war. So, look, his base, by the way, is going to be harmed. Because where do a lot of soybeans get grown? In Middle America. That's the same place Donald Trump claimed that he represented. Oh, I'm going to represent Middle America and not those coastal elites. And then I'm going to create a trade war which hurts Middle America. Well done, dumbass. Well done. Congratulations. Now, here's the thing, right? They're going to cheer for him until they realize that they are the ones that are going to lose out in a trade war. And in fact, there are a lot of farmers that are pissed off right now saying, Donald Trump, he said he was going to stand for us. He abandoned us by doing these ridiculous tariffs. And now we don't have anywhere to sell our soybeans. Again, congratulations, idiot. Why don't we ask these people how it's going? Why don't we ask these farmers if they're winning yet? Do you feel like you're winning yet? Do you feel like you're winning? I don't think they are. Look, this is insanity. There's actually a way to do trade that does protect American jobs and doesn't alienate other countries. There is a way that doesn't involve getting into massive trade wars. Look, you could go after the companies that outsource jobs. That would be a great start. Hey, American company, for example, Harley Davidson. Oh, you're going to go open a plant in Thailand? Okay, well, guess what? We're going to maybe put a tax on those motorcycles coming back from Thailand until you start making it in America. I mean, that's a possibility. There are things that they could think of that don't have this massive impact. But the problem is that nobody in the Trump administration actually thinks. They don't think about, especially Donald Trump doesn't think about what's going to happen. He's like, oh, the Europeans, the EU, they don't like me. They're sad babies. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a tariff on them. I'm going to put a tariff on their goods. That'll create American jobs. No, not going to happen. It's going to end up, as I said before, hurting American workers and not helping American businesses. And by the way, American businesses don't really need all that much help. A lot of them are the most profitable businesses in America. You just gave them a gigantic tax cut, and what did they do? They went and put all that money into stock buybacks. Ridiculous. Look, this is a terrible, terrible idea. Not very smart of President Trump to do. And this is going to backfire terribly on the economy. But just like anything else, if it doesn't impact or affect Donald Trump, well, then he's not going to care about it. So, sad. Okay. I don't think I have enough time for John Bolton either. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to move to some decent news. Yay. So the California Senate has taken its first step in passing. Let me start that again. The California Senate has passed new net neutrality rules in the wake of the FCC's decision to gut those neutrality rules from put into place during the Obama administration. The Verge is reporting that the California Senate voted on Wednesday to approve a bill that would reinstate the net neutrality regulations that were recently repealed by the FCC Ajit Pai. Now, the bill, SB 822, authored by Senator Scott Weiner of San Francisco, had been introduced in March and passed through 3 different committees among party lines. The bill was approved 23-12 and now will head to the state assembly. Again, hopefully it is California, so I think it is likely to pass that state assembly. So this is basically California telling Ajit Pai to go FCC himself. And I love it. So this is just one of the ways that we're fighting back against the Trump FCC for gutting net neutrality. Now, the other way that they're fighting back, states are, is that 20 attorney generals are now suing the commission. So they're suing to block this rule. Hopefully that'll work. The Senate also passed a resolution of disapproval as part of the Congressional Review Act to try and basically restore these net neutrality protections. So look, this is good news, especially if you're in California. I kind of wish that my state would do the same thing, but we are solidly red, unfortunately. But nonetheless, if California doesn't, it is very possible that other states are definitely going to be able to follow suit. So what happens when 20 states go up against the Trump FCC? That's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Usually it's the federal government. If enough states get in there and actually put in their own net neutrality protections and actually go to court and fight this, then I think it is a good chance that we're going to have an argument that is going to be in favor of states' rights. I mean, look, Republicans, you're states' rights people, right? You're supposed to be. And most Republican voters are in favor of net neutrality protections. Well, you're going to have possibly people in the Republican base making that argument of states' rights, right? And in this case, states' rights. Now, the FCC rule says, well, you can't actually, as a state, go in and put in your own net neutrality rules. And so that's what the court case is going to be about. But again, I think the states have a pretty good case to make that this federal agency cannot supersede state laws. So we're going to see how that plays out. Now, as far as the California bill, it has actually been described as, quote, the gold standard. Well, let me read what it does. The bill, of course, would reinstate rules similar to those in the FCC's 2015 Open Internet Order. It forbids ISPs from throttling or blocking online content and requires them to treat all internet traffic equally. Now, the bill also takes the original rules further. Now, how is that? Well, it would actually ban providers from participating in some types of zero-rating programs in which certain favored content doesn't contribute to monthly data caps. So that is important because, look, that gives one content provider an advantage in the marketplace. Well, my content doesn't hit your data cap, doesn't go towards your data cap. So that's why you should go with me. You get an advantage. Well, that is an unfair advantage. If one company can do it and the other can't, and they can advertise that, well, then one company is going to end up getting more traffic. That is not exactly a fair and equal internet. So it's actually really good that California is going to tamp down on that. Now, the Electronic Frontier Foundation released a statement on Tuesday that said that this bill was a gold standard for states looking to protect net neutrality. So again, this is a really good piece of legislation. Now, if the bill goes on to pass in the Assembly, providers will also no longer be able to obtain government contracts in the state of California without obeying these regulations. That is another very, very strong piece of this bill. And I think it is very likely to get through California and hopefully get signed into law. I would love to see that. If you really stand for net neutrality, then this is the piece of legislation that needs to go through. And California can stand as an example for a lot of these other states who are also considering drafting their own rules. Now, so far, California would be following Washington and Oregon in passing their own net neutrality laws. Now, again, that's 3 states. More will hopefully follow suit. I want to see a lot of states go and do this because, again, most Americans, both liberals and conservatives, independents, doesn't matter. We all cherish a free and open internet. And actually, these rules, the net neutrality rules, are actually conservative when you think about it because it doesn't allow the government to interfere. The government is just setting ground rules for business as it is allowed to do. It sets ground rules for other businesses, and now it's just basically enforcing neutrality online. And those are popular rules because, look, nobody wants to get screwed over by their ISP. Nobody wants to pay more for internet access. We already pay an arm and a leg thanks to regional monopolies. So why would you be against net neutrality rules? Well, the only reason you would be is if you're a giant corporation that's going to make millions of dollars blocking and throttling and also putting your own services above your competitors. And that's what this is really all about. So understand that this isn't about freedom, these repealing net neutrality rules. It was about corporate dominance and control. And so California is taking a big step, and these states, Washington and Oregon, are also taking big steps to be able to even the playing field or keep the playing field even for everybody on the internet. They're the ones that actually stand for real internet freedom. So hopefully California can join the rest. Okay. that's all the time I've got for you guys today. Unfortunately, I did not get through all the stories. We'll talk about John Bolton tomorrow. We also are going to talk about Jeff Sessions. So we'll do those stories tomorrow, plus others. So it'll be a great Friday show. Make sure to tune in 3 p.m. Eastern here, TYT Nation. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you want to see our videos, make sure to hit the bell and choose the option where it says show all videos from this channel. So do that, and that would help out, of course, greatly. Please like and share our content. And if you want to support independent progressive media, you can go to patreon.com/TYTNation. And also, when we're live, join in on the Super Chats. So, that's all. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out our clips later on, like and share. And thank you. Remember, change begins with you. Good night, TYT Nation. We will see you guys tomorrow.